T-Soft shoots it, deflected right in. Pietrangelo save rebound. Stastny stopped by Pietrangelo. I don't believe that save. Neither does Peter Stastny. He can't believe the save that Pietrangelo just made on him as Frankie Sparkly. Now that maneuver there to stop and rob Peter Stastny. He should get 5 to 10 for that.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Tendy Talk. I am your host Joe, better known as Washed Up Goalie on social media. This week I have my first guest who isn't actually a goalie. Today I'm talking to Kaz from the For the Love of Puck project. First connected with Kaz a little over a year ago when he was promoting an outdoor hockey tournament that I wanted to play in. Since then I've skated with him at many of his scheduled pickup skates and even filled in for his beer league team for a game before the COVID stuff happened. Enjoy the podcast and getting to know what the For the Love of Puck project is all about. Well, Kaz, thanks for joining me. You're going to be my first guest that isn't actually a goalie on the podcast. So you got a distinct little honor there. So I appreciate you coming on. For those listening, Kaz and I started skating. It was January last year at the outdoor tournament was the first time we skated together. If I'm looking at things right, and we've skated quite a bit since then, thanks to COVID and what I'm considering bootleg hockey over in Wisconsin.
That's true.
Yeah.
So is this live?
No, it's not live. It's recorded, and then I'll do some editing, and I'll put it out Tuesday. So Tuesday it'll go live. So I'm going to go back to the beginning like I do with most folks and figure out, how did you get started in hockey?
Well, I wasn't going to play, but it's just through friends. And then, I lived sort of on a lake and just went down, and my dad had me and my friend over. I was might have been like first grade. Yeah, maybe first grade, maybe a little bit before then. And we just went down to the lake, and there was a creek right there, and my friend was out there skating, and I hadn't skated yet. And I brought my boots down and my skates, and after that was it. Basically said I wanted to play. After I saw him zooming around the ice, I was hooked. So yeah, that's really it. I mean, growing up in Minnesota, you can't get around being by a lake. So I think just everybody I knew skated, So
Yeah.
Actually, one of my first memories was, obviously that story I just told my dad at the lake, but when I did my first practice, it was all in-house when we were younger. So
I wish they still had that in Minnesota, to be honest.
In-house is a misnomer because it's not in-house. It's actually outside all the time.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying house league hockey. I think we'd see a lot more kids that played hockey that are, maybe other sport athletes. I think of my son; he's a baseball player and would love to play hockey, but he looks at the travel commitment of usually 8 times a week in a 7-day week, and he's like, that's too much. But if we could have house league like they had baseball, he'd be all over that.
Yeah. So I mean, we had that. We had where I grew up. There was, in my grade school, there was divided between 2 outdoor parks, and then there was probably 5 or 6 other ones around. So the in-house league was depending on what park you played at, and basically every park had a team. So you go out, it was outdoor practices.
Yeah.
My first practice, I joined late, so I ended up in a park that was not even near my house, but the first practice was on a pond, and I couldn't skate hardly, so the guy made me walk up and down the hill on my in my skates just to get my ankles available to be able to do it. And I'll never forget the first person I saw skating was a girl I grew up with. Her name was Patty Rutz, who actually ended up being a really good goalie, but she I saw her skating, and I couldn't believe what I saw. My dad always used to talk about that, how she was zipping around the ice like crazy, and I could hardly move. And anyway, grew up with her playing hockey. She was a goalie, and I went to high school with her, and my whole life playing with her. But yeah, kind of interesting. But down the road, we ended up back in league together. So kind of Minnesota's a small world for hockey. So yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned the house leagues by the park, and I believe Duluth is the last city in the state that still does it that way. They still have their house league, which is why Duluth East is in the state tournament every year too. Probably the kids. It's just ingrained early. So you started skating youth hockey over in the parks in Mounds View. Um, did you go on and play high school hockey at Mounds View, or how far did you go competitively?
I tried out my freshman year. It was about, I'd like to say it was like 80 kids trying out or something. It was something insane.
Yeah.
And it was a lot. I mean, maybe that's an exaggeration. I don't really remember. It felt like 80 kids, but I didn't make it my freshman year, and then I just stopped trying out for the high school thing. I went on and played in the junior gold league, and which I guess I'm happy I did that. I kind of
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I really missed anything from high school. I think what I missed out on was continuing on after junior gold. I should have tried for juniors or something like that. I did actually go try out for one junior team, but I blew a tire on the way to the tryout. And I just
No.
gave up because I figured there's no way with the competitive nature of those teams, there's no way that I don't think I would have made it, but I guess I just sort of gave up on it.
Yeah. So you play competitive hockey at least through the high school years, and but like many of us, you never lost the bug, and you still kept skating, and it's thanks to you. Like you said, I was able to skate through this COVID mess. Most recently, it was 2 weeks ago at Augsburg Arena, we were able to get on the ice together.
Yeah.
So
I haven't taken a break from hockey, barring since I started skating. It was in growing up was all winter, obviously, in the then the spring leagues, which we played every year, and then it was summer league, and then a short break, and then we had fall tryouts, and it was just I always played. And then my only real long break from hockey was about, gosh, like about a year, or not a year, but it was probably like 2-3 years ago. I sprained my ankle real bad, so I couldn't skate for a long time, too
Yep.
long. And that was my only break from hockey in a very, very long time. So
yeah, I think the only real break I've taken from hockey is when my kids were born. They were born 15 months apart. So there was no going off to hockey with two little ones running around. So once they got old enough where one person could put them to bed at night, then it was okay. Yep, you can go play again.
it might be the reason I got divorced. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm with someone that plays hockey all the time too. So that might be the only reason we work that well together. So
Yeah. I think why it works well for me is my wife, her brother, played hockey when she was a kid, and he played high school hockey, played junior hockey, played college hockey. So she gets the lure of the game, shall we say. But anyway, so we connected because I started following your Instagram account for the love of puck, and I saw you were promoting this outdoor tournament at Groveland Park Rinks in St. Paul, which the location was just amazing. They have two outdoor rinks with boards, and then they have a skating area and an oval around all of this and a little area for pond hockey. And then they have the Zamboni that comes out and cleans all of this. It's just, if Norman Rockwell were to paint a park for hockey, it would be Groveland.
I agree. I mean, that last year was magical for real. I mean, just the snow and
yeah,
the chili contest and just everything was pretty magical and fun. So yeah, it was.
Well, and the teams were so pretty evenly balanced too. I mean, yeah, there were some teams better than others, but it was some pretty good hockey all weekend too. There were
Yeah,
no real duds.
no, that's true. It was pretty good tournament. Yeah, that was a blast. It was a very fun thing. I was excited to be able to do that, and it's like that was something I always wanted to kind of have as a tournament, and um, we did it, and it was very successful. I felt like people really enjoyed that tournament.
Absolutely. Well, and even better, you were able to raise some funds to give back to the park to maintain their rinks too, which was even better. Which um, I know as
Yeah,
players, we all went, great, yeah, sign me up again next year.
that park is unique. It's got 7 or 8 volunteers, and there's actually that was an organization that I coached for. Kind of utilize that rink once in a while, but I've been on a long running email list of the hose crew. So like
Yeah.
going out there to attend to the ice, here and there. Um, so yeah, it's a really unique family of people, and those guys take it with very much pride, and they do a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just a bunch of really cool guys, and they do a really good job there. So yeah, I mean, obviously super fun to be able to give back to them, and they're super generous with us. And so yeah, very cool.
Yeah, you talk about the hose crew. My son is out shoveling off the backyard rink right now so that we can try and get a flood in tonight before the deep freeze of the weekend.
I have to do the same thing here in a minute. So
Yeah. But getting back to it, for the love of puck was the Instagram account I was following, and for the love of puck wasn't just this weekend tournament. It's a greater mission. Tell me a little bit where this idea of for the love of puck came from.
yeah, so I mean, I think it's a little bit of just pulling together what I love most. I mean, I've been watching my brother for years playing golf and selling and doing all he does is play golf and makes sales to people, and I always envied that sort of like lifestyle, wrapping in what he loved most with what he's doing. And I can't say right now that I'm crushing funds with this brand or whatever we're doing, but I think it's just an idea of this what we're doing is I think is just promoting the fact that the lifelong idea of hockey, what it really means to get out there and skate, and just kind of a show of how unique this sport is for the social aspect, and just you know health and wellness, and just everything about it fits, checks so many boxes for me personally. And as we started this, and kind of thought of it in so many different ways, one being maybe a brand, and we are doing that and developing that, but also we started this documentary film that we've been filming and kind of covering all those aspects I've been talking about. And I think it's been a very unique experience to kind of get out there and challenge our passion with other people that play the sport, and find that you're meeting people that you feel like you've known your whole life, and you've just met them, and it's all coming around this amazing sport that we play. And hockey players are just really just hockey players. Even the people are in the upper levels, it's all treated as it's a lifestyle. It's not just what they do for a living or a sport. It's like, this is something that's going to stick with them forever. And I think it's really cool. And these guys that continue to play, they just continue to play. I mean, there's not many. You don't, it's not like a football where when you're done, you're done.
Yep.
You have this passion. You continue to play the sport. So
it's really a calling. When I'm away from the game, my team takes the summers off, and I'm just itching, waiting to get back on the ice. It's almost a part of us, and I I remember talking to Justin Goldman of the Goalie Guild after that first text I got from you saying, "Hey, can you skate in Hudson this week?" Sometime around July, and it's like, yeah, and uh, walking into that rink, smelling that clean, cold air for the first time in a couple months, and then getting on the ice, you don't realize how much it does for your mental well-being until you've been away from it for a while, and that was, I think, where it really drove home to me. The idea of behind For the Love of Puck is that it really is a little bit more to each of us, and you hit on the topic of the community side of it. You talk to any hockey player that the game has passed them up and they don't skate anymore, and they don't miss the competitive side of it. They don't miss practice. What they miss is the locker room. They miss the camaraderie, and I think that's what you've been able to capture so well, even in your skates. Your pickup skates are a lot different than the other ones I've been a part of, and I think the big part of that is because you always promise beer afterwards. We don't know what kind of beer it's going to be, but we always know it's going to be there, and 90% of the time it's cold.
There's no better way to bring people together than a couple of beers or hockey. So
Yep. Well, and
together it's perfect. I mean, not everybody stays, but the people who stay are definitely, when you start to organizing these skates and you start to get a group of people that start showing up, the people that are staying are the ones I've categorized people that are the yeses. They're always a yes,
Yep.
If you got something going on, the yes, they'll come out and skate. And then there's the maybes, and then there's the, there are definitely the people just like to go there, get the exercise, get out.
Yep.
And they're all different walks, but I mean, there definitely is quite a culture or it's nice to have a culture with your skate because,
yep.
For the couple times you get out, especially nowadays, it might be the only thing you're doing. So you might as well hang up.
I think I fall into the yes, maybe, and the maybe only comes in because I got to make sure it jives with the family calendar.
Well, you got that going on.
Yeah. So. If it wasn't for that, it would always be a yes. So you mentioned the documentary, and I've seen some of the clips you've got out on YouTube and some of the stuff you've had on the Instagram feed. And the little bit I've seen just has me excited to see the final cut. So at some point, you guys are sitting there, you have this idea for the Love of Puck. Why did you decide to, do a documentary? I mean, from what I know of you, that's not your background. So,
I mean, I have a creative background, but I think originally we started it as an idea to kind of capture just what we talked about, this kind of the culture. Our Tuesday night group was quite a crew when we skated for our league, and we just thought, there's so many stories that come out of there, coming out with your cheeks and your belly hurting from laughing so much at so many things, that we just thought, well, there's definitely a culture of people and characters here we could capture, make, do we need to make this a film or a show or something, which, sort of has been done. But as we started digging in more, we started meeting more people. And I mean, I think, I'm a very social person. So just, touching base with different people within this kind of interesting culture of even like the Instagram thing has been quite an eye-opening experience for me. Just is crazy how popular, and I don't even know how to explain it, but anyways, you start to reach out to these people, you start to, get these common stories. And so that's where we started to find some of the more interesting parts and pieces. And we ended up doing this. One of the things I always wanted to do is travel to Europe for a hockey tournament. So we ended up, I ended up organizing a Europe trip, and we planned that, and we just decided let's take advantage of, the areas we're going, which were very unique, I guess, and interview some people that play and just get to know them. And it was awesome. And from that, you start to develop all these different characters. And it's true. Every place you go, there's always a group where there's the one or two people that sort of stand out as
Mm-hmm.
the people that are the unique, or not unique, but the people who are the character for
Yeah, the locker room clown.
yeah, right. So yeah, that's where it all kind of started, was kind of capturing the culture, but it got deeper into the culture, I think, and it's been a really fun experience, and tons of serendipitous type stories that have come out of it, and honestly, long-term friendships that, I mean, I keep up with people communicating, I keep up with friends, but it's just adding a new layer to fun people that share a like mind, and
Mm-hmm.
it's been great. So I mean, I talk to these same people that we're interviewing all the time, and it's more than just the film. It's just, you know, it could be anything, you know, just, I don't know, it's
Yeah.
just been a very interesting experience. So
It's very similar to this podcast. I've connected with people I didn't know before the podcast, and then I've connected with people I never thought would give me the time of day, like Kelly Rudy. And that episode was just two of us having some beers talking goaltending. And I think if moving on, it's one of those where I know I can reach out to him at any time with questions, and he's going to respond to me, because
cool.
it's just two friends talking. And I found the same with the podcast. So as you're making this documentary and building this brand, which, by the way, the new logo is awesome. It grew on me very quickly. What's been the best part of making the documentary? I think I have an idea, but I want to hear it from you.
I mean, the best, there's so many good parts. I mean, it's been, I mean, just expanding the reach of the ability to just be able to play things. I mean, now, you know, it's the we are actually doing trips to Europe. I mean, this is going to be a long-term thing for me. So
Mm-hmm.
my my love of travel plus playing hockey and traveling is all kind of coming together as sort of a business, and things that I, you know, and honestly, how could that be any better for anything? It's just, you know, the documentaries led me to meet all these different people,
Mm-hmm.
finding new opportunities to play somewhere. I mean, when I was younger, people used to think I was crazy because my sister lived in Las Vegas and had a friend in Arizona. Every time I travel, I bring my hockey bag with, and even my mom, when she was alive at the time, was like, "Can't you just take a break from playing?" I'm like, "Well, I meet these people, and I just want to go out there and just, you know, there's something about getting on the ice with them that just feels different." So I have friends in Arizona that play. I have friends in Las Vegas that play. I mean, those are the two main places I travel to, but I always brought my bag.
Yeah.
So now it's the same thing. If I want to go travel to Europe, it might, or anywhere, unfortunately for whoever's traveling with me, it might be revolving around a game of hockey. So I think, as far as the best part of the documentary, to answer your question, I think just that expanse of meeting people, I think that has been the coolest bar none experience for me. And yeah, just making these lifelong friends. I mean, there's nothing I've ever done in my life, not work, anything that has opened the doors like that. And, you know, it's been crazy. People reaching out to me
Yep.
about little things, and I don't know, it's been really fun. So yeah.
It's funny you mentioned, bringing your skates with you. We took a family trip to England in 1994. I was 15 years old, and we had family over there. So we're visiting my grandmother's brothers, and my Uncle Fred got tired of listening to me talk about how I missed skating because it had been a couple days. So we took, I want to say it was like an hour and a half. We had to drive to go to the Peterborough Ice Rink so that I could go to open skate. And it was just like, yeah, I got to go skating, in England, even if it was for an hour and rented skates that were dull. It was like, yeah, we got to do that. That was a lot of fun. I get that. So making a documentary, it's not all rainbows and sunshine. What's been the worst part of it?
You know, I think it's been, for me, is I think it's I don't know. There's so much, but I think like lately it's been kind of a hang up of, we have a lot of good stories, but there's also, we didn't have a lot of time with people in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe this isn't a bad thing, but I feel like I have to go back there and like meet these people. But I mean, it's
Shucks, right?
yeah, no, it's terrible. But I mean, there's a reality of that too. Like, we've been able to do these things through raising a little bit of money or, our own funds. I mean, mostly self-funded film, but um, I want we've met people here that we've been able to retouch base with that if we're missing a part we can kind of go back and get. Out there it's gonna be a little more difficult, but
Mm-hmm.
we have just been talking about hopefully these next trips that we're planning come to fruition, barring, I mean, I don't think there's anything reason why I wouldn't, but beyond COVID. But if they come to fruition, we're talking about possibly roping in a few days with some of these characters to kind of travel around with them. So there's one guy that's been the biggest. Think that's been the biggest, the hardest thing is just we got the stuff. How do we have everything that feels like it should be? Because the parts we've done here, we've crushed. We feel like we capture the story. We've done the right things. We went to California twice, so some of those things that we missed the first time we're able to capture again. So I think we'll do it. So it's been a struggle of should we just finish with what we got, or do we have to take a little bit more time and spend? And I feel bad. I mean, there's not anybody like hopefully like sitting around waiting for a film to come out or anything, but that there are people who have donated money, and it's just kind of that I want to give them something, and we're working on it. It just
Yeah, that leads nicely to the next question is, ideally, when do you guys think we'll be able to see a final product, and where do you anticipate us being able to see it? I think of a film like Kane Van Gate's Hockey Journey, uh, where he self-published it. Is it going to be something like that, where we pay a couple bucks and we're able to download it, or
it's a
what are
good
the
question.
thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, ideally we wanted to be done in February this year, but that's definitely not happening. I mean, there were things like the COVID thing really put a hamper on
Yeah.
the Minnesota stories, but I think if all goes well, if I have my way with it, I would want to take the time in the fall and try to either we go on those trips and get those things then, or we have to plan another trip to get a couple of those things. So I think after fall, if we had everything else kind of pieced together, filling in gaps, and it could happen pretty quickly at that point. Um, and then as far as publishing, we've looked at all different things. So there's been, the film festival thing. So the film festival, we'd have to do those, as far as I understand from what I've looked into. You can't put it out on like Netflix and go to a film festival. It's got to be one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Or you got to do the film festival first because they won't allow it if it's been in, some other network. So I'd love to do that. I'd love to have that. I mean, you know, I watch a lot of film and TV and especially nowadays, but I always say this, it's like, well, this definitely isn't the worst thing that someone would watch nowadays.
Right.
I mean, considering what's out there, not everything's garbage, but there is a lot of crazy things that I feel like get funded on these stations and or networks. And I don't have the first clue of how people get funded for some of those things beyond I've had a couple conversations, but it gives me hope to say that if those people could do it with their story, I think that this is definitely warranted to get, I mean, bare minimum, whatever it is, I'd be excited to just get it out there somewhere.
Yeah.
But it is going out. I don't know how it will be. We did talk about one fun idea was a kind of grassroots sort of like touring band style thing where we would rent out local theaters and just go set up shop and show the film and sell tickets. And I mean, that would be super fun.
Yep.
Meeting people, maybe organize skates in each town. get out there, have some hockey played. It's not hard to get these people that love the game. And like, let's say we did that. You go to a rink and you plan a skate and you get 20 people to show up. Those people that would show up at some lunatic from Minnesota's hockey skate because he's flying into town are definitely going to watch your movie.
Absolutely.
So,
I watched some stupid stuff where just because it had hockey in the title, I watched it and I'm like, thank you, Billy. We are now all dumber.
So, there's some good ones out there, and I've watched things, and I mean, so I'm hopeful. I mean, the footage that we have together, we just actually did like a 10-minute, very, very, very rough thing we had to put together for, it was like a funding for a documentary organization that gives money to finish film. We technically didn't qualify, we still submitted, but that was a good exercise to put together some things and just talking about how we're tying things together. So some narration, things like that. So it got my brain more into the creative side of, narrating some of the storylines and which I need to pick back up and do. But it's, as you can see, it's very easy for me to talk about hockey and our stories. So yeah, I'm excited to do that part of it. And yeah, it's been hard. It's been hard conceptualizing the overall story and what it means.
Well, I know talking to you and hearing you talk at some of the skates, you guys have so much great footage where it almost becomes a Sophie's choice of what do we cut? Because there's only so much time.
It's crazy because that last cut we did was about 3.5 hours long. And there's definitely things you can go, well, you're not going to cut out an entire person, but there's definitely parts you can cut out. But it is tough because there's some good stories. So then you start to think like, do we have to go back and like reconnect with this person to fill in some gaps? Because some of the people we've shown it to, it's kind of like, well, I want to know so much more about this person. That was so interesting. And it's true. I mean, you watch documentaries and it's like, if you watch a serial killer documentary, it's almost sad when they get caught because you want to continue to hear these stories.
Yeah.
So,
have you thought of maybe turning it into a docu-series since you have so much great footage instead of it just being a 1-2 hour video? Is it a several part piece?
So that's interesting. We have talked about that, but we do already have a series that we're trying to accomplish. It's called Goalie for Hire. It's with Tara. So we're making a series with her that are developing, and we got some footage. We're waiting for some other stuff from her, but basically would be, half-hour shows of her, sort of a travel hockey documentary
with her van.
And basically going town to town, setting up, some unique stories, kind of like an Anthony Bourdain style thing where you go and there's some hopefully touching moments and things that she would do, and just the interest of her literally being a vagabond, throwing in your equipment and traveling town to town. So that's a really what we've done with that honestly is so interesting. I mean, I think it's interesting. I watched it. Her footage is great. She's great. I think she's lovable. There's all sorts of parts about it that I think will be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would be involved with it as like the second person, maybe traveling at least to some of the areas. So I think it's cool. So that is a spin-off, I think, of what we've done. Now, Tara's a little hard to track down and a little hard to pin down because she loves traveling so much.
Yep.
It makes her a unique person for this, but
she's a nomad.
A nomad. So we've been waiting for her to finish a couple clips, and I think she's completely bought into this idea. I just need to spend a little more time, following up with her. And
I love the idea. And for those listening, if you've seen my Instagram feed. Tara is the other goalie that I'm at the bar with and full equipment having beers with. So, yeah, she's definitely got a good personality. She's got the skill to play in any of those drop-in games too, whether they be high level or not. So one of the other cool things about For the Love of Puck, you mentioned uh, the European trips, but you also put on some great tournaments. The next one's the Madison Mug, which I'm actively trying to get a bunch of my high school buddies together for a weekend.
Good.
So the idea of hosting these tournaments, I'm guessing, kind of falls into, excuse me, the idea of just getting people together that love the game. And because for me, again, it's not so much the game as it is the getting together afterwards and talking hockey, the locker room part of it.
Well, Madison's the place, man. I mean, I would argue there's probably not a better there isn't a better town in the Midwest to hang out in than Madison. And then you put the hockey in there. It's a centralized location to a lot of great places that play hockey. So you got Minnesota, Illinois, Michigan, even parts of like Ohio or any of those places. Just kind of a good central location for a good tournament. And it's first year was a little slow, but it was the people who came out again were those people that were the yeses. They had a blast.
Mm-hmm.
They all had a blast. It was about hanging out. We had the run of the rink. The bar is overlooking the rink. The Zamboni guy driver serves the beer. It cannot be a better thing. So
well, and it sounds like the rink, they get the idea behind the tournament too. So they're okay with the parking lot beers. They're okay with the locker. Like they get it.
It's Wisconsin. So
yeah, that too,
there's not much they won't do, but
yeah, there is that.
I mean, the thing with that area, that rink is very cool. It's a great junior hockey rink. It's Bob Suter's rink. Ryan Suter from the Wild, his dad, and Madison Capitals. And I mean, great rink for that. But in the summer, they don't have a lot going on in Wisconsin. It's a little bit different than Minnesota, where I think it's more of a constant, hockey flow all season, all year round. I mean, not that it isn't happening, but when I said, can we get a weekend full of hockey? Can we have, up to, I mean, I bet we could have 16 to 20 teams there if we wanted to. There's 2 rinks, and they're like, yeah, no problem. And they just said name a weekend. It was like, if that was Minnesota, it would be like, well, we can maybe fit you in.
Yeah.
We're having it on the schedule. It's the August 13th, weekend of the 13th in August. We got a couple teams that will probably come down, but I got a feeling the Madison team that was put together last year will be a little bit more robust. They're very good. A lot of the guys, I wouldn't say a lot, but there's several of those guys that play in a senior A level checking league in Wisconsin, which is insane. But they do it. They don't do it in Minnesota for whatever reason, but in Wisconsin they have a senior A checking league. So
again, it's Wisconsin.
Sure.
Here's my group text trying to get the boys together for the tournament. So we almost have enough. We're wise enough to know we need a little more than 2 lines. We need at least that 3rd line because some of these guys probably haven't skated since the high school days. So they're going to be sucking some wind. So we're working on convincing a few fellas. And
it'll be cool. This year was interesting. We weren't going to have it, but they allowed us. It was right in the middle of COVID stuff. Yeah. They did a great job there. We kept it to 4 teams. We kept it to 10 players per team. No spectators, no beer. No, it's just kind of go play hockey. But still, people go out there and still do it. So people traveled from the Twin Cities. There's 3 teams from the Twin Cities that played out there. So, I mean, that's interesting in itself, But, so it's fun. And the tournament stuff is fun. I have a couple other ideas for tournaments in the summer. One would include a golf resort sort of thing. So trying to figure that out. But for now,
we might have to connect for a tournament in Chicago. There's a lot of hockey to be played there and some pretty cool rinks to play at too.
That's one of the first men's leagues tournament I played in was in Chicago. It was insane. It was a crazy trip.
Yeah. So aside from the documentary, aside from the pickup skates and the tournaments, the team you've got shooting the documentary, you guys are also doing some outside commercial work as well. And I bring that up because you guys did the work for Kav Sports, which I had my Mike Wazowski moment, and that you had me come out to be the goalie in that one, and I made the cut for the video that's on their website, and it was about a half a second. My daughter's like, "Where were you?" I said, "I'm like Mike Wazowski when they put the logo over his face. I'm famous." But the feeling of that shoot, and I saw some of the longer cuts when we were out in Hudson the one day. It's really cool work, in following the Instagram feed. You guys are obviously always looking for more commercial work too, correct?
Yeah, I mean, we have from this documentary spun into a video production company, so we're actively looking for new things to do. We obviously love sports stuff, so we've been doing a lot of that. And yeah, the Kav Sports thing was great. That shoot was super fun. Obviously, we're just basically good buddies getting together to play some hockey and do video. So everybody on that crew was a hockey player too. So that's fun.
Well, and it was obvious because some of the guys going around with the cameras, they weren't out on the ice with shoes on. They were out there in their skates, and you could tell they knew what they were doing. It was fun because when you guys were doing the shots in the locker room and we were out on the ice, I got to play the rebound game for the first time in years. And I forgot how tiring that game is.
That was fun. We had the rink for like 4 hours or something. It was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. In true Cas fashion, there were parking lot beverages afterwards.
Always.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, that was a fun day. And I know you guys got some great shots, and I can only imagine what wound up on the cutting room floor too.
There's a lot of cool things, and we probably owe you a good post from that thing at some point soon. But yeah, it was fun, and yeah, we're doing a lot of cool video stuff, local things here, and some other like Kav Sports, and there might be some other sporting good places that we might be able to get to do their video, but it's been a weird year for that. So obviously we've been trying our hardest to get more business, but
Yeah, it was fun the one day when I opened up Instagram and you guys were walking into Los Campeones gym, and I'm going, hey, I know that place because my brother-in-law's girlfriend is a trainer there. I was like, did you see these guys there the other day? So that was a pretty cool shoot, and they were pretty excited to see that one when you guys put that out.
Oh, nice, cool. Yeah, that was a fun one too. But
yeah, it's a cool gym too.
Very cool gym. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of hidden back there, but in fact, funny story about that place. So there's a hairstylist that has her salon upstairs there, and so I took my kids to get their haircut, and one was getting their haircut, the other was down working out with their uncle, and my mom calls, and I pick up the phone and give it to my son, and he goes, "Yeah, we're at the gym getting our haircut." And I hear him say, "Yeah, we're at the gym getting our haircut." And then I had to explain to my mom what was really going on because my son wasn't going to quite tell it. But the best part about that day was Dangerous Man Brewing is like 2 blocks away. So I stopped and got a growler on the way home. Yeah. So we've talked plenty about hockey, and it's well established that you love the game. But what do you do away from the sport to kind of keep you grounded and find that inner peace?
Nothing. That is my inner peace. I mean, my life lately has been crazy with hockey. Right now I'm organizing 4-5 skates a week, working on developing a youth league in spring, and busy grooming my backyard rink. And if I'm not there, I'm skating outdoors with some buddies that I've connected with that are hockey nuts as well. So this COVID thing has been crazy. Not having hockey for a little bit was driving me nuts. Other than that, I'm recently repicked up playing guitar. I do, I'm in architecture, so I do architecture. I do enjoy that, but I'm constantly working or on the computer doing something. But I like working out and playing music and art and all sorts of stuff like that. But I live in St. Paul. Have a great fiance that loves hockey too. We actually just joined a league together, so that's another night a week. So it's been kind of crazy. So, but in my defense, it's great workout.
Yep.
In everyone's defense, it's a great workout. So you
It
spend
keeps
that.
us young.
Yeah, for sure. And that is a thing, like too, like there's a lot of my friends now they're younger players and good players. And it's just something about that youth and just continue to, playing with these people that it's that cycle. It's been so fun to, play those guys. It's hard as you get older, like keeping your competitive edge with things. And I've been a very competitive person in my life, but when you start to have your friends that are pretty good and come out and play with you, I'm not going to say really good, but pretty good. It's fun to challenge them and, chase them down corners. And, that keeps me young too. So I love it.
Well, I just turned 40 last week, and I sure as heck don't feel like it most days. There's a few of those late night skates where the next morning I might feel it, but most days I don't.
I just sent a text. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Tommy Younghands.
The name's familiar. Yep.
He's an ex-North Star. So he's one of our subjects that's kind of tying in the Minnesota scene, but he's a person too that is absolute hockey nut. He dies for it. I mean, played professional hockey, he's I think he's 68 years old, maybe or 65. He plays 3 times a week. He's great great at passing, shooting, smart player, just the all around good hockey player and great guy. Same thing. Always having the beers in the parking lot. But he sent me a text today and he's looking for guys to play hockey. And he asked me, he said, we're looking for guys for a tournament. Are you 50 yet? I said, 50. I said, I sent him back a text that said age 44, act 20, feel 70, because my body,
yeah.
hurt.
Yeah, there's those days that it hurts. That's for sure. So I don't know if you've listened to any of the previous episodes, but I tend to close them out with some rapid fire questions. Some of them are goalie related, so you're going to have to bear along with me.
Yeah. All right, ready.
So what's the craziest coaching moment you've experienced in your playing days?
Craziest coaching like that I've experienced personally?
Yes. Or you were the subject of, because I know you've done some coaching.
Craziest coaching thing. I guess it's not necessarily about me, but we had a kid on our team. His name was Judd Gord. We used to call him Gordo, and I probably shouldn't call him out on a podcast, but anyway, he's one of these kids. His dad played great hockey his whole life, and I know he played for the Gophers, I think. And anyway, his dad would get frustrated with him that he couldn't, he didn't hardly know what offsides was and stuff. And our team at the time, a couple of younger coaches, they were, probably barely 25, and they were coaching us. And, we thought they were so cool, but they're very physical players, grew up physical players. And I remember him telling Judd, they said, Judd, if you don't get out there and hit somebody, this next play, I'm sitting you. I'm going to sit you. That's it. You got to play physical. So Judd got it, got a bug under him, got out on the ice. He jumped over the boards, headed towards the corner, trying to catch this guy coming around the back of the net. He went straight into the corner, missed the guy by about 20 feet, and went headfirst in the boards and ended up giving himself a concussion and out of the game. So that was probably one of my favorite stories in hockey for sure. But maybe I'd have been there, and no Judd, but damn, he took it to heart and he went after that guy and he got the worst of it. So that's for sure.
Oh no. So this next one definitely is a goalie question, but what's your favorite all-time goalie mask?
Goalie mask? Oh God. There was the North Stars mask that was kind of like the full face shield. I can't remember who wore it, but it was green and gold and yeah.
That one? Gills? Yeah, the Gills
Malash.
Yeah, Gills Malash, yeah. Yeah, that one. That was pretty sweet. And then he wore it at the outdoor game against the Blackhawks alumni.
Yeah, that's it. That guy was cool. He was wild, man.
I was one of my earlier episodes. I was talking to Connor Beaupre, Don Beaupre's son, and he was talking about that outdoor game, and his dad wasn't sure if he was going to play, and he said then his dad got a text from Gills saying, "Hey, I'm going to play. Are you?" And he kind of felt, well, now I have to. If this guy who's a few years older than me's playing, I feel like I need to.
I have a bone to pick with Donnie Beaupre because I was a peewee and I sold so many pizzas that I was able to go to the North Star practice. So I was like the top seller of pizzas for youth league. And I went to the North Stars practice and I ended up getting Basil McRae's hockey. You know Basil McRae?
Yeah. He was in the Mighty Ducks movie.
Oh yeah, you're right. But he gave me his hockey stick and I was so jacked about that. But I didn't collect many baseball cards or hockey cards, and just a little bit. But I did have Donnie Beaupre's hockey card, and I went to ask him to sign it after the practice, and he blew me off. Can you believe that? I'm sitting there in the box, like take you 2 seconds to sign a kid's card.
Oh boy.
Let that down.
Maybe we'll have to work some back channels and get you a Donnie Beaupre autographed card.
I'm over it, man.
You're over it. So you've played at some pretty cool rinks. What's your favorite rink that you've skated at?
Oh, well, favorite one locally, I think. What I miss most is the Coliseum. That was my favorite rink. Did you ever play there?
I didn't get to play there because I got a concussion earlier in the day and I had to ride the bus with the varsity team to the game against Hamlin. But I've been there for some hockey games. Yes. Yeah.
So that was, my nostalgically, that's my most favorite rink next to Aldrich Arena, but coolest rink I think I've ever played at. I think there's two, but the outdoor rink in St. Moritz, Switzerland is one of the coolest locations I've ever played in for sure. It just was magical. It was warm as hell there. It was probably like 50 degrees. They had great ice. They have locker rooms that open up to the ice. They have a little cafe that opens up to the ice, and it just base of the mountains. That was, I can't recreate that. It was so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite stick that you've ever used?
Favorite stick?
Yes.
Man, I am not a stick person. So nostalgically, again, I'm going to go with the Coffee Curve Sherwood 50/30. That was, the staple for a while. I break one a month, basically.
I got one in the garage right now for the pond.
I almost bought another one the other day. I just, for the pond. Yeah. But that was growing up was my favorite stick for sure.
Yep. I'm with you. In fact, my daughter, she wanted a new hockey stick last year for skating out back, and she's not a hockey player. She just skates on the backyard rink. And so I wasn't going to spend a lot of money, and they had a Coffee Sherwood for $30. I said, here you go. And she loves it.
There was something about getting that brand new stick the brand new wooden stick. There was just something about it,
Yep. Yeah. One of my teammates on my beer league team still uses the wood sticks, and people have said, well, why don't you get a composite? He goes, listen, a composite stick's not going to help my shot. So I might as well save myself the money and just get myself a stick that's going to hold up until I got to spend another $20.
I'm with you.
Yeah. What's your favorite youth hockey memory?
Youth hockey memory?
Yeah.
Oh, I think youth hockey memories are definitely, to me, more about the, I remember distinctly walking into a hotel room or into a hotel. I think it was in Duluth. Oh no, it was definitely Grand Rapids, and they had the pool in the middle, and all the hotel rooms face the pool.
Probably an old Holodome.
There, I came a little bit later, and the rest of my friends, and just seeing all my buddies in the pool, just having a blast, and just thinking, man, that if I go back to those moments, that there's just nothing like that. Just the idea of like you're traveling with your team and you're hanging out for a weekend and
not a care in the world. Yeah.
And honestly, my buddies that I get together with from that age, that's all we talk about. Is, do you remember this tournament? Do you remember that when we tossed so and so in the pool, or that Judd Gord story, or any of those other stories? Do you remember when we had to smash open the window on so and so's truck to get the keys out? And those are the stories that I barely remember any hockey stories.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. It's like I said, you don't remember many of the final scores of games or even the games themselves. You remember the time with your buddies and what you were doing. What's the best chirp you've heard?
Damn, I don't know if I can talk about this online. Well, I do have a story. It's actually in the Chicago tournament. That tournament I happened to be playing. I played wing, which I normally don't, but I kept the goalie. I'm screening the goalie. That's my spot. Just get in front of the goalie. Mm-hmm. And this guy had it out for me. He jacked me in the nuts at least 7 times. And I didn't react. And the very last time, shot from the point came, bounced off his pads. I turned around, spun it in, and nothing super glamorous or anything, but just right place, right time. And the guy came up to me and he said, "Man, I have been after you all game. I've chopped you in the nuts so many times, and you go and put that goal in on me." He's like, "You deserve some sort of medal." He's like, "Didn't you feel that?" I'm like, I just got over my testicular cancer. So the guy's face dropped to the floor, and I just skated away. Didn't leave him with any other response in that, but he was floored by that. Needless to say, he did not come near me the rest of the game. So.
Nice. So what's the worst post-game beer you've had?
Oh, God. If it's anything heavy, I'm not into it. I know people will hate that comment. I played on the Summit Brewery hockey team for 6 or 7 years, and we had so many Summit beers. I drank them. Trust me, I drank them. But there's something about that heavy beer. I don't know. I do remember one specific after game beer was we had Newcastle. Someone brought Newcastle's.
That's a heavy post-game beer.
No, you can't drink that. I mean, you can.
A good cheap lager or pilsner is almost the perfect post-game beer, like a Coors Light, Mick Golden, where it's just nice, cold, crisp. It goes down good. And I'm a guy that likes heavy beers normally, but there's something about they're not great post-game.
No, I'm probably completely over the heavy beers. I am. Brewery beers are completely lost on me nowadays. I used to be a fan of breweries. I like the atmosphere and stuff, but yeah, I wouldn't say just give me a Coors Light. I mean, there's obviously better choices than that, but give me a Coors Light, I guess.
Yeah. So when you tape your stick, do you go heel to toe or toe to heel? Or do you even know?
I go heel to toe.
Okay.
Yeah. Heel to toe. I barely tape my stick, so.
Yeah. Well, as a players are a lot more finicky than goalies on exactly how they tape their sticks. Although goalies are starting to get that way. The more they play the puck. What's your favorite number to wear and why?
number 9. I'm 9th in the family. I happened to get that one year, and it just stuck with me. So,
Well, being the ninth in the family is a good reason too.
and number 9
Um,
is a great number. A lot of good number 9s out there.
yeah, there's been a few memorable guys to wear the number. So the last question is typically what advice you have for young goaltenders, but I'll change it to what advice you have for young hockey players.
Oh, that's easy. Young players, I think especially Minnesota, the biggest thing is, it's easy to get fallen into the trap that you got to make the high school teams, and you got to, it's the team after team after team. But I think the biggest advice is just keep playing. I mean, you're never going to be in a spot where you can't play. And some of the best memories you'll ever have is from hockey, and that is proven. And I just would say that, I'm not saying don't make the team.
Yeah.
Make the team, play wherever you can. But the reality of this sport is, and as you get older, and even I think people will come out of some higher level teams would tell you that this is about having a good time, and, be the best you can be, but, take it to a point that you understand that you can do this your whole life and never give up. Right now we're skating with a kid who's 14 years old, comes to all our men's league skates, and he is great. He's a great player. I mean, he's smart, fast. He's not very big right now. He's also 14, but the kid, when you talk to him, completely gets it. He gets hockey. He gets the fact that, he's playing in a good team, but he also gets the fact that, it's every time I said, "Hey, John, do you have a good time?" He's like, "This was so much fun. I can't wait to come back and do this again."
Yep.
And people are skeptical of that kid coming to our skates. And I said, you know what? If he's got the guts to get out there and play and wants to do it with these guys, then do it. You're dealing with a lot of, we have good players on our skates. I'm not super worried about it.
Yeah, there's some of the better pickup skates I've been at, that's for sure.
And, he gets out there, and every time he's like, "Oh, this is so much fun." I'm getting notes from his parents saying how much fun he has. So I would say the biggest advice I give to kids is, this is about having fun. You're going to meet some great people, and it's not always about making a team, but, just keep on skating and don't give up.
Yeah, because all roads lead to the beer league.
All roads lead to the beer league. And
yeah, so have fun along the journey. That's for sure. And you talk about that. Some of the fondest memories I have on teams are some of the teams that had the worst records, because we found a way to still have fun despite that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So before we close off here, where can folks find you online so they want to look into your tournaments? They want to check out the video. Where can they find you?
Yeah, so it's fortheloveofpuck.com, the number 4, theloveofpuck.com. And Instagram is the same, but each letter is, don't ask me why, is separated by an underscore. But if you go to the website, you'll find the Instagram, and,
Yep, I'll put them in the show notes too. And I think you're on Twitter every now and then when you get bored.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on a pretty hard path to trying to get as many people looking at what we have as possible, just because it's easy. I mean, it's not hard to follow a good hockey Instagram if you're already a hockey player and love the sport. So I think it gets you in the right location, and everything we do is about the sport and for the love of it. I don't, it's important to me that it's authentic and real. Yep. And, I could easily be out there, putting a new brand on my thing every week, but it's really not been about that for us. So it's about real people playing real hockey, having real good fun. So, and we want many people on board with that as possible. And I think it's really easy to do. So.
Yeah, well, it's definitely been fun being a little part of your journey anyway, and being able to come out to the skates, and some of the people that I know will wind up in your documentary are people I've had the chance to meet and connect with, and it's been fun.
Yeah, well, Yeah, I agree. I'm glad that we've connected, and yeah, it's been fun skates. Every time you come out, you do your videos. That's always great. And the old school pads, that always, you know, it's hard finding goalies that you really love because either they don't show up or
Yep.
they're just out there. But
And
we
that still kills me about the tournament last year, and that I couldn't get there for the first game because it would have been perfect, just snowing that perfect night, but there was that damn accident in our one road into our subdivision that prevented me from getting out because I'm usually like, oh, if I say I'm going to be there, come hell or high water, I'm going to be there.
You definitely missed out on that first game.
Yeah.
That was magical.
Yeah, I'm so bummed on that one, but made the next few, and it was fun. And
we actually had to pay a goaltender, I think.
Yeah, and what bugs me is then the next day he doesn't show up for his own game. So at least I got to repay the favor and fill in. But that was I don't know what kind of goalie does that. Taking money to get extra ice time in on a night like that.
Needless to say, he's never been invited back.
Yeah, exactly. So that's almost the hard part now because I've been checking the website every now and then. Goalies know, I think, that your skates are good. So when skates open up, they hop on them right away. So the Hudson ones are the best ones for me on Sunday nights. But it seems like whenever I go and look, they're already gobbled up.
Sunday night, if you're available.
This Sunday?
Sunday, Friday nights are kind of open.
Yeah, I got to see what we got going on this week. Because that rotten Super Bowl, I think we have.
Actually, Sunday we're not playing this week.
Oh, because of the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've liked the past couple of years, the Super Rink, their league, they still schedule us to play. They give us the earlier time slot on Super Bowl Sunday because the youth teams aren't skating. So, of course, we're skating during the game and everybody's showing up going, what, there's a football game tonight? I didn't know about that. We're hockey players.
That's why I said to the rink guy, I'm like, we don't have, I rent all the ice and I'm like, it's weird. I don't have Sunday on the schedule. He's like, the game's on. I'm like, what game? He said the Super Bowl. And I just responded and said, what's that?
Yep. It was just one of those where, there's a few guys that got some money on the game. So they bring the phone out to the bench to get the updates to see if they've won anything at the quarters. But that's usually the game everybody shows up for.
Yeah, I don't like football, but I'm one to say don't skip a game to play a game.
Right.
Don't skip to play a game to watch a game.
Exactly. Unless you're going to like a wild game for some special thing, that's the closest excuse. or you're going to your kid's game.
Yeah. Okay. Kids.
Yeah. Well, Kaz, I appreciate you being on the podcast. It's been fun talking to you, and hopefully some more people learn about For the Love of Puck. And,
people should reach out, say hello.
Absolutely.
Come skate.
Yeah. Well, unless you're a goalie, you check with me first to see if I want to fill up that slot. So, well, have a good one, and we'll be in touch, bud.
That sounds good.
Bye.
I always enjoy getting a chance to talk to Kaz. I highly encourage you to check out the For the Love of Puck website and follow them on social media to stay up to date on the documentary and find out when their tournaments are. You can find For the Love of Puck on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube by searching For the Love of Puck. Now, to change topics, I want to share a note I saw on the GGSU United Goalie Facebook group this week. A mother shared that her 15-year-old son Gage, who is a goalie, is scheduled to have his left leg amputated just above the knee on February 17th. He's been battling osteosarcoma since early December. His family is working on putting together a video with clips of people from all over the world offering friendly words of encouragement and support during this chapter in his life. Feel free to reach out to me and I'll share the family's contact information or search the hashtag GoaliesForGage on social media. If you're listening to the podcast after February 17th, I'm sure the family would still love to receive your videos. So, hockey community, let's do our thing and let Gage know he's not in this alone. Now back to regular programming. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube simply by searching Washed Up Goalie. You search it, I'll pop up. Visit washedupgoalie.com for some great hockey-related content, my beer league hockey video highlights when I'm able to find a skate during this pandemic, and of course, all podcast episodes. If you want some Washed Up Goalie or Tendy Talk apparel, be sure to visit my Threadless shop by clicking the shop link on my website. If you like this podcast, give the BLPA Big Show podcast a listen. The BLPA Big Show is the OG podcast on the BLPA Podcast Network that is simply a couple of beer league players chatting about beer league exploits and at times hot topics in the world of hockey, hosted by Nick Jones and Trish Dangles. And Cara Diabella seems to be the unofficial co-host these days. I need to thank the band The Zambonis for allowing me to use their music on my podcast. You can download their music on iTunes or listen wherever you stream music from. I'm working on lining up other goalies to talk to. I've already lined up some really fun ones in the coming weeks. But if you're a goalie or have connections to a goalie who you think I should have on a future podcast, email me at washedupgoalie39@gmail.com or send me a DM on social media. Let's not forget, if you're a brand who wants to sponsor the show, be sure to reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk. And finally, if you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe, rate, and comment on the podcast platform you're listening on. It's a quick action on your part that helps others find Tendy Talk. Until next time, keep your stick on the ice and your body square to the puck.
Check out the